What is good, everyone, and welcome back to the Nostalgia Post Ultra podcast. My name is Nostalgia. Joining me is As Told by Zoe. What's good, my guy?
What's up, man?
Hey, man. I was looking back through our previous episode, and I just was laughing to myself because it's literally like part, I don't know, of us saying we're going to talk about certain things and then only getting to one of those topics.
That's usually what podcasts are.
I mean, yeah, but it was just so funny because I was like, I was saying in the beginning, we're going to talk about, this music debate that we saw on Twitter, and then also talk about our anime seasonal stuff, to get into that stuff. And then we just spent a whole hour and 10 minutes on on the Drake and Childish Gambino thing and never got to any anime talk.
Trending topic.
That is true, but it was just really funny. Today, though, is going to be primarily about anime. That way we can kind of stay on track with the new current season coming out and some other stuff like that. But before we get into that, I made another crazy claim now. We're going to talk about multiple things today, but it's all going to be about anime. So first one is something that I saw on Twitter literally right before we started recording. And it was Crystal the Creative. Shout out to her. I've been following her on Twitter for a long time. She's a really positive, black influencer and in the, I guess, black nerd space or anime space, I guess, or whatever. And she's done a lot of cool stuff. But I'm following her for a while, and people were kind of getting on her case in a joking way about her still having Naruto in her top 3 of anime. And I thought it was pretty funny because the responses are hilarious. And then, she's kind of going through talking about the Naruto as a show and talking about how some of the dynamics didn't make sense. Like Hinata and Naruto's relationship as a couple, it really wasn't that fleshed out. It wasn't that great. But which is a valid point. And then she kind of follows up later in her stream of consciousness with, growing up is realizing your childhood anime isn't as good as you thought it was. The nostalgia factor still hits, and then she follows that up with, I should have said some of your childhood favorites because some storylines still hold up even as an adult. And Zoe, since you are, I don't know if you have a childhood anime that you started with at all, or if any kind of childhood media that you could go back to and be like, yeah, this isn't very good. Do you have any of those?
Funny enough, back in the day, hold on, give me 1 second. I don't know why I was, Toonami was like, oh, we got Bo. And I was like, that's the sickest thing I've ever heard in my life. And as a kid, I wasn't like, ooh, anime. I just thought it was a cartoon. And as a kid, I don't know, I tried to watch every Bo episode that came on, and I don't think I can watch that again.
Oh my god, I remember that show. We'd have to go back and watch it again just to kind of see if it's a parody, holds up.
It's a parody of everything.
It's supposed to be, which is really. I remember remembering scenes from it and thinking back to what it was. It was definitely really funny. I definitely was on that in that same breath as probably a lesser version of Space Dandy, because Space Dandy's good.
Yeah.
But Bo was a further parody than Space Dandy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Further comedy elements of Space Dandy. But yeah, it's probably going back and watching it now. You're like, yeah, this is just dumb. 10-year-old me would have just been like,
I really don't. It's not like I was a frequent Toonami watcher when I was younger. I just heard that name and I was like, this is the funniest shit I've ever heard.
Yeah, I think for me, it's funny enough. her talking about Naruto, I think Dragon Ball Z and Naruto are two of the, I guess, childhood anime that I grew up watching, like legitimately knowing that they were anime, and I will say, like, Naruto's not ever really going to be in any of my top lists at all. Because I feel like a lot of times people look at, and look, don't get me wrong, if Naruto's your favorite story ever, I'm not saying your opinion is wrong and your fandom of that show is wrong. For me, though, personally, I feel like a lot of people look at Naruto in general with a lot of rose-colored glasses, and because there are a lot of, but it's hard, I feel like it's hard. It's the same thing I go back when I talk about Bleach, right? Like your criticism of Naruto, right, can be valid under the knowledge and the, like, I guess the preface that it's a 90s to early 2000s title,
Yeah.
Like nothing else. I mean, obviously, like Boruto, like Kishimoto isn't writing that he hasn't written most of it, so like it's a different kind of entity. So I'm just focusing on just Naruto in general. It's an early 2000s title, so a lot of stuff is going to be a lot of stuff newer, like generational stuff now is taking from Naruto, is taking from Bleach, taking some of the stuff from One Piece. But there are certain criticisms to be had about Naruto as a show, like how a lot of characters were set up to have a lot of prevalence in the later story, never got fleshed out, and had really bad character arcs. The romance in there was kind of forced. It was just very one-sided. Like Hinata's relationship to Naruto was definitely really one-sided, and she's she was a character that wasn't super, I guess, developed in terms of like the love interest situation, and it was only ever really like seriously hinted at or seriously like considered in like one of the Naruto movies when she gets kidnapped or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just there's no real serious situation in which Naruto like looks at her as a romantic interest. At least how it was written. You know what I'm saying? From like you can interpret certain things and certain things that were said and certain actions that Naruto takes as him being interested in her, but for the most part, it wasn't really the case. People have their opinions on Sasuke. I think Sasuke is not the greatest written character that people say that he is. The edgy brooding. I feel like there are better versions of edgy brooding characters than Sasuke.
Here's the thing. Coming from someone who famously doesn't like Naruto, it's fine if you do. I'm not trying to yuck someone's yum.
Yeah.
You people don't like Kingdom Hearts, and that shit's my favorite. But the same thing with me and Kingdom Hearts. You gotta be self-aware about some stuff. You gotta realize that what's the mangaka's name? Kishimoto.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta realize that Kishimoto can't write women.
Yeah.
You gotta realize that Sasuke has been done better ever since.
Yeah.
And you gotta realize that, yes, while Luffy and Naruto both yell, Naruto is way more annoying.
I think just I don't know. When I talk about Naruto, I guess I'm lumping in both Naruto and Naruto Shippuden together.
Yeah.
That way it just makes it a little bit cleaner.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I will say though, if I were to choose between the two of them, I'm definitely choosing Shippuden over original Naruto.
That's what original a lot of people say.
Yeah, it's just because I think character-wise, I like Naruto better as a teenager than I did as a kid.
Mm.
As a kid, me as a 7, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old watching kid Naruto run around, I thought he was the coolest dude ever. Now that I'm 26 years old and I watch Naruto again, I think he's an idiot. Or not, I think he's just like a spoiled kid. Not spoiled kid, but just he's annoying. I think he's just like an annoying, loud kid that gets on everybody's nerves. You know what I'm saying? But as a child, I thought he was the coolest dude ever. You know.
Also, as an outsider looking in, it's almost this weird thing where like, to put it as an analogy, or to compare it to something, a lot of people say, "Oh, The Dark Knight is the best comic book hero movie ever," and then other people say it's only good because of the villain.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of people talk more about villains or side characters rather than the main cast.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think that people. I know I think we mentioned this on like when we had Rainey on the podcast too, but like he was talking about how there are a lot more like side character fans than there are fans of Naruto. I don't think that's 100% the case. You know, like obviously you see people online. Like online, you're gonna find a lot of pockets of fandoms of characters or just shows in general. Like you're gonna find those people out there. You know, I think there's, when it comes to the story of Naruto, I feel like there's gonna be a lot more people that like the titular character the show's named after than a character who, barely did anything who'd had a couple of cool moments in the original, in the first iteration, and then had maybe like 2 or 3 somewhat decent, things that happened to him in Shippuden. Like, especially you talk about like Choji or something like that, right? Like, and then Neji, in the original, he's this prodigy who's, gonna be one of the best, ninja in the Hidden Leaf Village, and he had all this potential to be like one of the best, and it'd have been really cool to see how he develops as a character, and even into Shippuden, and then he fucking dies. It's like,
yeah.
It's like, what a waste of a character.
It's also like, I hear way more about Gaara or the fucking, and yeah, I'll be honest, Rock Lee taking off the weights, that's cool as fuck. But
you gotta
Jesus Christ, I see that clip every other month on Twitter.
I know, bro. Get a different clip, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
If all Rock Lee's character amounts to him taking off the weights versus Gaara and still losing, mind you, he still lost that fight.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't win. Or like the drunken style against, what is his name? The guy that has like the bone jutsu or whatever. But
I just hear more about like other people's feats than Naruto's. The only thing I ever see about Naruto is how Sakura like fucked him over.
Yeah, I think it's just, he just can't. Kishimoto cannot write a woman to save his life.
Even as a kid, when I would try to watch Naruto, I hated Sakura. I was like, what? What's the point? Why does he like her?
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know. I feel like it's not fair to the character that is there underneath all that BS. Cause I think she gets a lot of unnecessary hate. Although she's not gonna be my favorite character ever.
Sure.
Like, she's not gonna make any kind of top women characters in anime list for me. You know what I'm saying? She's not gonna make that list. But I do think there was some stuff that she had going on especially in Shippuden, that a lot of people just kind of dismiss and don't really talk about, just to fuel that narrative of saying Sakura is like a useless character. I will say though that she had arguably one of the biggest like fuck ups in the plot that led to like a certain thing. Basically, like, she was supposed to I think she was supposed to either kill Obito or do something to him that would allow their plan to succeed, and she hesitates and doesn't do what she was supposed to do, and it leads to, I think, Madara gaining the power he has towards the end of the show, right? I think people use that specific thing to define her as an entire character, and I think that's not super fair. You know what I'm saying?
It's almost like it's really weird when we talk about stuff like this, and we talk about how Twitter reacts or handles characters like this, because it's almost like, again, I do a lot of comparisons. It's almost like Star-Lord in Endgame, or in Infinity War, fucking up, the plan for, and they couldn't get the Infinity Gauntlet off of Thanos' hand. But what people don't fucking realize, and I always gotta bring it up because I'm the only motherfucker on Twitter that isn't black or white. I'm the one that thinks shit out. Doctor Strange said there's only one way we can win, and what ended up happening? They won at the end of Endgame. So that had to happen. People need to shut the fuck up. So the same thing with this. It's like, sure, she fucked up. Move on. There's more story.
Yeah, literally. But yeah, I just think like when it comes to a show like something like Naruto, I think you gotta use your, or just even anything in the big three, right? Use your criticisms, with the preference and the knowledge that these titles came out in the early 2000s. So a lot of the mistakes that they made in their iterations, some of the I'm not gonna say clones, but like the I guess framework that they established and created, some of those are going to get fleshed out a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to have situations like, well, I can't even use Black Clover as an example. Black Clover's kind of basically like another like Naruto iteration, and even those, women characters aren't really super fleshed out either. So it's kind of par for the course. But like, yeah, it's just like the Jesus Christ, Milo.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when it comes to Naruto, and then also thinking about Dragon Ball Z as an anime, right? I think, people still look at that with rose-colored glasses a little bit too. I think for what it's worth, Dragon Ball Z in what it provided is a very, cool story, all that kind of stuff. But as you start to get later into the iterations of Dragon Ball Z, or just Dragon Ball in general, it's like, where are we going? What are we doing? Can we, get some different, like a different type of, story maybe? It just doesn't really give you too much outside of just what they gave you in the 90s and 2000s. And so when you kind of...
that one is I didn't really watch too much Dragon Ball when I was younger, here and there. But that one, there's like a soft spot for Dragon Ball in like almost everyone's hearts, because it is such a landmark title.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the same thing over and over again. It's just, it's like you're just watching to see what new form Goku gets, and then restart. Chi-Chi doesn't really get fleshed out. Bulma was a really, in the beginning, Bulma was kind of like a main cast. She's kind of on the sidelines again, like but it's also like, it's Dragon Ball though. It's cool,
Yeah. I think we talked about this a few episodes ago, where I was like, I kind of am not super interested in the screaming and yelling animes anymore.
Some. Because, Uzui Tengen, that, Dragon Slayer, Demon Slayer, I could watch that shit all day.
Yeah, but even still, for me though too, it's like I'd have to like watch it all, and like that's like, that's my screaming and yelling fix for the day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's there's just, it always goes back to the chicken tenders debate. There's just way more shit out there.
Yeah, and it's just, the shows that we watch when we're kids, and that, or just at least younger, and we try to go back and realize that they're not as great as we thought they were. You know what I'm saying? It sucks, but it happens. I think the two titles that I'm thinking of now, they're my earlier like anime days, thinking of like Soul Eater and Blue Exorcist. I think the problem with those two is the situation that I think Soul Eater is good. I think that the anime original ending is what makes it not good for me anymore. Mm-hmm. And then same thing with Blue Exorcist. And then how they handled Blue Exorcist, where they basically had an anime original ending for the first, I guess, season or whatever of the show, right? Then instead of making an entire remake like Brotherhood, they instead make a third season but it picks up right at the diverging point of the first season.
That's confusing.
You see what I'm saying? So like season 1 is like 22 episodes, I think so, or whatever. But the anime and the source material diverge at episode 12, right?
Okay.
Where like, I think right at episode 12, Rin is discovered to have, by the whole class, to have the powers of Satan, right? Because essentially he's supposed to be Satan's son, and he's been hiding it this entire time. But in episode 12, it's found out that he's the child of Satan, right? Mm-hmm. From there, everything, the anime has an original ending. The problem is, from that point, they make a third season where it picks up right where episode 12 left off. And it's just like, why? Why do that? Why not just make a whole new thing?
That's so weird.
You know? And even that third season or second season or whatever, still kind of takes some artistic liberties with the source material too.
Sure.
So it's like, it's not really a full, complete adaptation, you know? Mm. So it's just like, yeah. So when I go back and watch it, I'm just like, yeah, this isn't really that great, you know? But yeah, I just think it was funny. Like, there's like so much other like media out there too, where I can point to and say, hey, you know, that's not as good as I thought it was now. You know?
Sure.
But like, well, there was a movie I was thinking of, and I can't, like, I remember one time thinking of like watching Shark Boy and Lava Girl for the first time. This is random.
Yeah.
Watching Shark Boy and Lava Girl for the first time, and as a kid, and being like, this movie is amazing. This movie's fire. And then watching it as like a 16, 17-year-old and going, this movie sucks.
This movie's ass.
This movie's ass.
You know what? I'm going to be brave and I'm going to say it.
Oh, no.
I cannot watch Space Jam.
That's another one.
I can't. I just can't. It's like I love the Looney Tunes. They all do great. And I'm a Michael Jordan fan. To me, he's the GOAT. I just cannot sit there and watch him interact with, like, he sucks. He's such a bad actor. And then, like, yeah, the jokes are funny. There are some jokes that are funny, and then, ooh, little bunny, you. But like, yeah, there's just some parts where I'm just bored.
Yeah.
And the second one is even worse.
Yeah, second one is just, I saw like maybe the first 25 minutes of the second one. I think they were playing it at this, like, somewhere I was at, and I was like, yeah, this is just not it at all. But the original Space Jam is funny too, because as a kid you're like, oh my god, this movie's amazing. When you watch it as an adult and you're like, Jesus, this movie is just terrible. Like,
I don't know if I missed something. Where the hell does Bill Murray come into the picture?
He comes at the very end. He's like this random. I
know at the end, but why?
He's supposed to be Michael Jordan's friend that like shows up because he needs some backup playing against the Monstars.
Just because.
I think so. If my memory's right.
As a kid, how the fuck am I supposed to know who Bill Murray is?
I mean, I don't think you're supposed to like know who Bill Murray is. It's mostly just like, Michael Jordan's like, I need help. Let me go hit up my buddy. And he shows up and you're like, who's this like fat white guy? He can't play. And then he has getting buckets against the Monstars or whatever. I think that's what it's supposed to be. I just think it's funny them using all of those NBA stars, because like every Michael Jordan included, every NBA player that has an acting appearance in that movie has the stiffness of a board, bro.
Yeah,
it is terrible,
bro. It's hard. It's a hard watch. I'm not even gonna lie.
It's a hard watch, man.
If you're like with friends and you're drinking and whatever, you're making jokes, like whatever, it's fine. But like alone, it's a hard watch, bro. And that's why Kevin Garnett is the best NBA actor.
1000%.
Uncut Gems.
Why
the fuck you gonna show it to me if I can't have it?
I feel like they didn't give him a script. I feel like they said their lines to him and he was just I feel like in Uncut Gems they did not give him a script. They basically just read their lines to him and said, okay, Kevin Garnett, be you. Because there's no way.
He was great, bro.
He was amazing. But yeah, that was just like a quick thing I wanted to kind of touch on. But getting into, I guess, the nitty gritty of this new anime season that is currently out. Man, I'm super excited for it. I know me and Zoe watched. We'll start off with the one that we both watched collectively, that I showed you, and that is I think the sleeper. It might be one of the best anime to come out of the year if it continues to be consistent, and that's Zom 100.
Bro.
Oh my god.
Bro, visually, let's just start off with the visuals first.
Yeah.
It's really funny because we saw something before that just looks like shit.
We're gonna get into that in a second. But.
So then to switch into something that's so stylistic and colorful and like, bro, it was so fucking mesmerizing how not just the use of color, but like the use of like perspective, and like, oh, this is how this person sees the world, but this is what it actually looks like, type of beat, like I had no expectations for this show. I know you said you were hyped for it. I had no expectations for this, and it fucking blew them out of the water. I'm so hyped for it.
Yeah, I read the first chapter, and then it was like when it wasn't even when it got announced. Like I just randomly saw it, and I was like, oh, this looks pretty interesting, and I read the first chapter, and then I finished it, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is going to be a good one, and I put it down because I think I was in the middle of reading something else, and I was like, I don't want to like drop the other title that I'm reading to pick this one up. So I left it alone for a while, and then it got announced for an anime, and I was like, I'll just wait for the anime, and then I'll pick up the manga from where the anime left off. And then, so I was already super excited about where it was going. But man, I don't think I could have asked for a better adaptation, and from a studio that's relatively new, like Bug Films.
They kind of got hits though.
Yeah, they only had like 3. Including this one, I think only like 3 anime that they've done production for, which is this one, Gundam Witch from Mercury, which we still have to finish, and then there was one more that I saw.
Komi Can't Communicate, also
yes,
banger.
It was Kobe Can't Communicate. So like, they haven't really missed on a. Oh, and they have another show that's airing this season that I'm watching. So. Yeah, it's just like the biggest thing for me. If a show can capitalize on the use of color production-wise, you've already sold me, right? And I think I talk about this when I talk about Bungo Stray Dogs season 4, right? How basically the earlier, like the first 4-ish episodes are basically Rampo and the head of the Armed Detective Agency. It was basically like the formation of the Armed Detective Agency. And basically talk about Rampo's origin story, right? And for the first like 4 episodes, you basically are watching it in a very monochrome, black and white noir setting. And you think that that's how the series is going to go for the most part, especially in the like, they usually do flashback episodes like to set up storylines and seasons for Bungo Stray Dogs. I like how they do that, but this is like no different than what they've been doing. So basically, when Rampo discovers his like ability, right, and he gets like he is able to get the glasses and he's able to do the whole thing to take them off to like trigger his gifted ability, right? It suddenly like gives the world color. You know what I'm saying? Gives the environment the actual color that it has. It gives you like an ambiance. It gives you the actual color scheme and overall aesthetic of the show itself. After the first 4 episodes being super monochrome, this one is super the same. And how I like how it goes from super bright and colorful, and then it basically the color scheme of the show reflects. Was it Toka? What's his name? I think Toka.
I forgot now.
It reflects. I think it reflects the main character's mental state. So like, it goes from him this really bright and colorful.
Akira Tendo.
So it goes from this bright, like Tendo sees, you know, the bright and sees this bright and colorful world because he's starting out in a new job. The new job is really crazy. He has a new love interest, and he's really like trying to get stuff together, and he's, you know, really excited to hop on this new experience of starting his life. And then as he begins to see how exploitative this company is, you see the color scheme get darker and darker and darker and more monochrome until it's eventually black and white. And then when he eventually realizes that because the zombie apocalypse is here, he doesn't have to go to work, and he finally like gets to live free from his from the stress of his job, the color comes back in the coolest way possible.
Yeah.
And I think that's just one of the biggest things of this show that I think is going to get people, is just the overall just production value. And even the story is just like cool too, you know, like Tendo's a cool MC.
The way Tendo's written so far is interesting to me.
Yeah, he's not like this the whole, oh, what do I do? The zombie apocalypse, you know, that kind of character who's just like super scared of everything and all that kind of stuff.
And something happens in episode 1 where it's not, he doesn't do the typical stupid MC thing. He just kind of you know, notices his surroundings, sees the situation that's going on, and is like, you know what, it's time for me to, you know, let me do the right thing. And he does it.
Exactly. I think that scene is definitely kind of shows you his mind state as a character, you know. I think sometimes when you think about like stories that have zombie apocalypses in them, you either get like the super badass that just doesn't care about anything. All he wants to do is just survive, and he's like, I'm gonna live for myself and the people I've lost, and then you get like the people that are super scared of everything, that, you know, have this hidden potential to be really beneficial to the group, but it just needs that one little push to get them over the hump, or they see some death and they get really scared about it, and they meet this like really gruff mentor that teaches them how to be themselves and shit, which is just so played out. And then you get Tendo, who's like, oh, zombie apocalypse, I don't have to go to work tomorrow? Bet. I'm gonna do everything that I've ever wanted to do before I eventually die. Zombie apocalypse. I think it's just really refreshing. A refreshing take on like the zombie genre. I think it's really cool. So, but I know you've been kind of, you know, slacking a little bit on the anime tip. But are there any shows that you're like looking at to probably watch? Have you seen any?
Bro, I have to catch up on I always say Dragon Slayer. That's not what it's called. I gotta catch up on Demon Slayer. Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm watching it, you know, so I haven't not seen an episode yet.
Yeah,
I for sure gotta keep up on that because it's. How long has it been?
it's been like 3 episodes out so far.
No,
For
how
the new
long has
season.
it been since season 1?
Oh, but like maybe like a year and a half, 2 years, maybe.
Yeah, bro. Like, it's been a minute, and I really like JJK. So
Yeah, I think season 1 was airing while I was still in Georgia, so it's been like 2 years.
Dog, you've been here for 2 years.
That's what I'm saying.
Might
So
be
it's like
3, bro.
Might be more. Yeah, might be probably like 3. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's for sure. I want to watch JJK. It baffles my mind how quick Rent a Girlfriend season 3 came out. They are pumping that show out, man.
Yeah, it's popular, bro.
It has to be popular in Japan, right?
Yeah.
Because I just see people shit on it here.
I mean, I think it's just the people that we follow, or just the people that we just see immediately on the internet. There's got to be people that genuinely like that show in America. There's no way there's not a niche audience for it.
Definitely, and it's and it's that whole thing of like it's a different culture. You have to get used to it. Where it's like you don't have to get used to it.
I mean, yeah, there are degenerates everywhere. There are degenerates everywhere.
I defended the show, but then I saw panels from the manga, and I was like, "Oh, there's no coming back from this. This is bad.
It's bad, dude.
Oh,
it's really bad.
Speaking of bad,
oh god,
have you seen the art that's been floating around? It's like official art for Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
Oh my god. Yes.
I will never ever take anyone serious ever again if they mention that show. I'll never forget. People were like, "Yeah, it's kind of weird, but like it's more of a comedy and it's kind of cute and the lesbian dragon, she's trying to flirt with the human. It's kind of cute, whatever." No, you can't convince me to watch that show. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, every mangaka, every showrunner, every whatever, they draw their females in bikinis. It's kind of like a thing.
Yeah.
Especially Kubo. Kubo loves his bikinis.
Yes.
So a new official art for Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid has all the dragon people in bikinis.
Yeah.
And the only one that looks kind of normal, because not really, she has a giant fucking dragon tail, is the main one.
Yeah.
Because the one right next to her is a child. And the one at the end, also a child, with triple Z boobs. It's disgusting.
Oh my god.
And then there's one who also has
man.
really big boobs, and for some reason her feet are fucking humongous.
Her feet are ridiculously big. It doesn't make any sense.
Someone quote tweeted it with Oscar Proud talking with La Cienega,
Yes.
and she shows him her feet, and he goes, "Whoa!"
Yeah, no, that's literally what it looks like. That's insane.
And then one of them has like a horn coming out. Like, what's the draw to that show?
I don't know. I have no clue. I haven't picked it up at all. That's not really my forte.
Yeah,
I think we were talking about that. We were talking about that with your dad when I was over at your crib yesterday.
Yeah, we're trying to see if we can teach my dad about anime culture. I think we could skip Dragon Maid.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I don't even want to watch it.
Yeah, no. I think there's just like a different aesthetic and vibe. I've seen clips of it, and it's there's like random like bits of Sakuga where they're fighting, or some character fighting, and it looks really cool. But I know that's not what the show's about. So
I've seen clips.
I don't know.
I've seen clips of the little one, doing goofy, funny thing. But I'm like, I can't watch a whole show of this. There's no way.
Yeah, there's no way. Not even close. Continuing on the topic of bad, right? So we do have potentially a YouTube video coming out at some point in time.
Oof.
Where we talk about one of the newest shows of this current season. The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses. And I know in the moment of
I'm already pissed off.
Hold on. You ain't gonna let me preface to the audience what we're talking about?
Go ahead.
We did a video on it. Both of us were in this, not through this Riverside call or whatever, but we were in person, both at the same time, watching it in real time. It was not the best of experiences, but now that we've had a day to kind of sit on it, and reflect on what we watched, I feel like the conversation could be a little less just both of us being irritated.
That shit was stupid.
It was so bad. It was so bad.
The girl is an ignoramus. She forgot her glasses. First off, if you're that blind, like me, like if I take my glasses off right now, I cannot see the computer screen. I don't become, like, inept. Like, I could still function.
Yeah.
She can't even tie her fucking shoes.
What is it that you said that they do to her? It was they make her seem like a baby.
They
right?
infantilize her.
Which was, there was a lot of that going on, and it's just.
And then we talk about it in the video. Like, I guess I get it. They're middle schoolers, and if I had to guess, the show's for kids. And there's nothing outrageously. I don't even think the show's horny to begin with. I think it's more like puppy love. So
I would say
I'd rather watch it than Dragon Maid.
Yeah, I'd rather say it's like middle school horny, which is like you don't really know what the next steps are, It reminds me of that fucking scene from Adventure Time where Jake is like laddering the steps out and he's like,
don't go to ladder 38 or whatever.
Yeah, it's like don't do step 18 or some shit like that, right? He's basically, when he goes like the first 3 ladders, I think that's kind of like what middle school horny is going to be, where you're just really nervous about a girl touching you. You know what I'm saying? Or put their head on your shoulder.
Even that is just wholesome. It's not like he gets touched and then he has thoughts like Kazuya,
Yeah, but also like they're in middle school, so it's different, Kazuya's an adult.
But that's what I mean. They could have gone the route of like degenerate,
like Mineta.
Yes, but they didn't. So like, if anyone likes really wholesome shit, it's wholesome. At least what we saw. It's nothing gross. But
yeah,
she's just stupid. And the whole show is just, it's way too wholesome. It's too much.
Yeah, it's like the character is supposed to come off as like super quirky and weird, but it just comes off as she's just a dummy, Like,
and this is coming from someone who likes, like, I like Bocchi the Rock. That's wholesome. Komi Can't Communicate. That one's also wholesome. But like, it is, not to mention, it looks like shit.
Bruh, Gohan's is gonna be Gohan's, man. Gohan's is gonna do Gohan's things, which
we
is
mentioned it in the video. The art isn't terrible.
Yes.
But the way everything moves, the way they pan through 3D spaces, the way that the main girl, her whole every single strand of hair is animated, first off, separately. Second off, at a different frame rate. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, it's like she has 3 different sections of hair that are all animated at different different frames. Like, I can't even tell, because I'm not like an animator, so I wouldn't know the correct terminology. But it looks like fucking the top part is animated in a super fast frame rate, while like the other 2 are a lot slower, and then I just kind of like they move all at different directions, and it doesn't seem super smooth. Like when you do, I was saying this in the video too, when you have like a character do the whole like hair swinging thing, you know, it's supposed to be this cool animation thing where you kind of see the flow of the hair. They're supposed to look, you know, beautiful in the scene and all that stuff. They do that for every time she turns her head and looks at the main character.
Bro, when she doesn't have her glasses on, she can't see, so she's looking at the textbook like this.
Yeah.
Her hair moves weird there too. Like, it's just everywhere.
Yeah, and then just I don't know if it's because Gohan's has no money or they just are sticking to this super off-kilter style on purpose, which I think is the second one as opposed to the first one.
So do I.
But bro, there's scenes where they're supposed to be like the camera's like a low shot where the character's supposed to look taller than what they actually are.
Bro,
right?
It's
an artistic choice. They're slanted, but I'm not even talking about that long drawn out homeroom scene, right? I'm not even talking about that specific part. I'm talking about the low, like they're like at like the shoe locker, and they're like the camera's low, and it looks like they took a picture of the 3D model of the shoe locker area, and then just placed the characters in that shot because they don't look like they're standing on the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And it looks like the wood mat that they're standing on is way bigger than they are, so it looks like his foot would get stuck in one of the crevices. We mentioned that in the video.
Yeah, dude, like I would consider myself artistically challenged. Like, I'm not a great drawer, painter, whatever. Here. I can, you know, I'm pretty good with a camera. You know what I'm saying? Video wise, I'm pretty good with photography, decent with photography, right? Even I could tell that was bad artistically. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, even I know that's not right, you know? Like, oh man, it's just really bad.
It's just, it's interesting how these things get funded, because remember when we were looking at the title screen, there was like a bunch of copyrights at the bottom, and one of them was Square fucking Enix.
Yeah, you weren't too fond of that one.
I don't understand their philosophy on anime.
What, Square Enix?
Yeah, because I've only ever seen them produce like no shonen. They don't do shonen. I'm not even sure they own Dragon Quest. I'm not even sure they produce the anime though.
I wouldn't know.
Now I gotta look this up. But yeah, they do Kakegurui. They did My Dress Up Darling.
Yeah, which is just Kakegurui especially. I know we talked about that in the pod before, but it's super horny. My Dress Up Darling, you know, has some moments that are not great.
That's right. They do Brotherhood.
What? Like
Full Metal
Alchemist Brotherhood?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Oh, my dumbass. Of course, they do Nier and The World Ends With You.
Yeah. One of those is way better than the other one in terms of video game adaptations, but
they did Black Butler. I know that's kind of famous.
Yeah, it's pretty famous. It's getting another season, which is people didn't expect to happen, but
they do Dragon Quest.
Okay.
Kakegurui Durarara. The fuck is that?
I don't know. I've seen stuff before about it, but I haven't watched it before.
Oh, Horimiya? Oh shit, they do a lot actually.
I feel like they just fund anime projects. I don't feel like they're not really
Yeah, I just
super
don't.
involved in it.
Oh, they did. Fuck, you like this one? Vanitas, something of Vanitas.
Oh, the case study of Vanitas. Yeah.
I know they just fund this shit. I just don't get the philosophy behind it.
I don't either. It's just random.
Happy Sugar Life. Not watching that. Not watching that. I don't need to. High Score Girl. Didn't you tell me to watch that?
I did, because the animation style is a little off-putting, but the story itself is kind of funny. And they legit play video games for real. And they have a lot of terminology of video games in there.
Oh, they did or they funded this fucking show. What's it called in English? Come on. Vermeil and Gold. Did you hear about that one?
No.
Okay, so this showed up on my Twitter a lot. And this, honestly, this makes sense for Square Enix.
What's it called?
If that tells you Vermeil and Gold.
What? What is that?
Okay, so white hair. Let me just explain the cover before you look at anything. White hair boy, school uniform. On one arm, pink hair girl, also school uniform. On his other arm,
what the fuck is this?
black dress, big boob, purple hair, older lady. Older lady apparently is a demon. The demon, instead of like sucking the soul out of people, she has to suck him off.
She's a succubus.
But like for cum.
That's what a succubus is, by the way.
Don't they suck souls? Either way. But she's not. But the point is, she's not like evil. She's like part of the main cast, and she's like a good guy. But they have sex a lot.
Dog.
And then apparently, the animation company. Okay, under genres, it's ecchi. If that tells you anything.
Yeah, bro, this is nuts.
The animation company, apparently, what I learned from Twitter, they did only hentai before this.
Oh, you can tell.
And then, I heard so many people love this show. And then I saw clips from it, and I was like, there's no way. There's no way.
The people that love this show, they need to go outside.
That's what I'm saying. There's no way that this they could just watch every episode of this fucking show.
Dog, what the literally, I typed in Vermeil and Gold as you were talking to me about it, right? Some of this stuff is like fan art.
It's insane.
There's like an AMV like thumbnail where she's like, oh, this is bad.
And from my understanding, because I haven't seen any episode, from my understanding, the whole show isn't her trying to pipe main character.
Yes.
They just do. So
it's just like, I feel like it, so boom.
So obviously, anime MC fever, where he's like, wait. And then, so my whole thing is, if they just do, what's the point of the show?
Yeah.
What is the end goal?
What is the synopsis of this fucking show?
Alto Goldfield, a diligent student at Ortegia Academy of Magic, aspires to become a powerful sorcerer, but he is unable to become one, as despite his excellent grades and strong commitment to his studies, he fails his summoning class. With the threat of repeating a year hanging over his head, Alto tries following an old, worn-out grimoire in a desperate attempt to resolve the situation. To his surprise, he succeeds and summons a powerful demon named Vermeil. As a sign of gratitude for releasing her, Vermeil agrees to become Alto's familiar, sealing their relationship with a deep kiss. Little does Alto know what else he is capable of and what Vermeil's pasts hide. They don't even mention the fact that they fuck.
That's probably for purposes to get people to be intrigued.
Stable Entertainment. What else have they done? I clicked on the studio. One of them is just what's it called? 3 seconds later, he turned into a beast.
Oh God!
And the cover is just a girl with her leg up, and this guy's like fondling her thigh, which already.
Come on, man! Come on! Oh boy! Oh well. Square Enix, you got some explaining to do, my guy. You got to figure that out.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I guess they just fund whatever, because then they do Horimiya, and Horimiya's like, you know, kind of wholesome.
Yeah, they gotta just be throwing money at production companies that need that extra push. There's no way.
Kakegurui Twin. Oh, I never saw Twin.
I didn't either. But okay. What is the? Okay, there was something else that I wanted to talk about. The other animes that I'm thinking about watching, right? Because obviously funny enough, I watched a little bit of the second Gohan's production, which is The Masterful Cat is Depressed. That one's kind of dumb too. It's the same thing. Not super like photorealistic in their production style, which like with the really stupid backdrops and stuff, but it's still just terrible camera work. Like there's a scene where this like anthropomorphic cat is like lifting up this lady and like sliding her out because she's tired. She's sliding her away from like the dinner table, and like for some weird reason, like the camera starts from like this top down position when the cat walks in, but then right when the cat grabs the lady, it goes back to that weird low ground shot.
Yeah.
And as they drag her out, the camera like sweeps and it looks like her legs are 30 feet long. And it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah. They really like this like weird field of view thing where everything just looks super long.
Hey, I don't get it. I don't understand. But two shows that I picked up as part of the season, I'm not sure I'm gonna drop them yet or not. I'm not 100% sure. Undead Girl Murder Farce, I think I talked to you about it a little bit.
You told me.
Where for me, I think it's definitely gonna be interesting because part of me feels like it's gonna be a Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty type setting story, due to like the context clues and foreshadowing you get early on, and how the main setting is Europe, specifically London, you know, and like how one of the main villain, the only thing that's known about him from the interactions between the main character and I guess the other like main girl in the show, the only thing connecting like their knowledge of the enemy is that he has a cane with the letter M on it. Right, and then like in the OP you see the Big Ben, like the clock tower. Yeah. You see like certain people with like trench coats. This guy with a trench coat like walking around, and he kind of gives off the vibe that he might be Sherlock Holmes, you know. So I don't know. I think it might be getting into that era, which I think is gonna be interesting, especially if it's a situation where it's not directly involving them. You know, where we get to kind of see their squabble from the perspective of somebody else trying to save themselves. I think is really cool. And then another one that I feel like I'm probably gonna end up dropping because it's just kind of boring is the Gene of AI. Okay, I need you to This one is kind of it's interesting on paper, but it didn't really do anything for me when I watched the first episode.
Okay.
It's basically like this. So I guess it's like a situation in like the distant future where 10% of the population is humanoid, like has the brain and processing speed of a robot and the body of a robot, but has like human, flesh, human characteristics, all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But basically the main character is a human. He basically works on humanoids, and there's like a rule. This is a rule that states that you can't copy a humanoid can't copy their consciousness or whatever. They can't duplicate it. It's like illegal to do that. But when the main character was a child, his mom was trying to get money for a procedure to save the young boy's life. So there's that. The doctors that would have performed the operation told her that she would have to duplicate her consciousness in order to get the money to do it, right?
Okay.
Which is illegal. So essentially, the mom agrees. The boy's, life is saved through the operation, but she goes to jail for 25 years. So the thing is, what basically this main character's whole entire thing is he works on humanoids both legally and illegally. Like he's like a black market doctor as well as a real like doctor that helps out with humanoids. And basically his job as a black market doctor is to get information, is to like help work on stuff and check for viruses and all this other stuff and help people out under the table, so he can get information on where the copy of his mom's consciousness is, if that makes sense. So basically he's in the first episode, he visits his mom, right? And I think I might have it switched up, but I think the mom that he sees in the penitentiary when he goes to visit her is the copy, and the real version is somewhere else, I think.
That sounds...
So basically he's just trying to find the real copy of his mom, because what they explain in the show is that like criminal organizations will use the duplicate copies of people's consciousness to carry out crimes. So he's under the assumption that somebody's using his mom's consciousness in order to commit crimes, and he's trying to find it, essentially.
That sounds crazy.
It sounds crazy, and it sounds like it would ramp up to be like a good story. It just, I don't know, it was kind of boring. Like it kind of dragged on. You know how like we were talking about how long the girl I forgot her glasses was, right? We're watching a 22-minute episode, but it feels like we've been here for an hour.
Yeah.
That's how I felt watching it. Like I just felt like it was just, stuff was moving so slow, and like the information that was essentially the plot wasn't being given in a timely manner. Like obviously, like some shows are going to be slow burns, which is fine, but this was like a slow burn where you don't really know when it's actually going to start burning, It's
also like, but like if a premise like that, feels slow, that just makes it more boring. Because you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Literally, like I'm just like, okay, you can have it be a slow, like ramp up to like a big revelation, but you also got to give me some plot, some foreshadowing, some threadlings that I can like look at and say, okay, I think this might be where they're going with that one, or ooh, I wonder what this character's motivations are, or this might be pretty cool. The entire, like a good chunk of the episode is basically the main character goes to the house of this couple who both of them are humanoids, and their daughter is a human. They adopted the daughter when she was a baby. The mother's internal processing thing got messed up because she took a fall down the stairs. So her brain got messed up. So the dad has this smart ass idea of duplicating her conscious, which is a crime, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess when he goes to do it and find the equipment needed or software needed to do it, it puts a virus in the mother's processing unit in her head.
Mm-hmm.
So they call the underground doctor, which is the main character, to come fix it.
And this is all episode 1.
This is all episode 1.
Jesus Christ.
This is all episode 1. So they use that situation to kind of explain to you what the main character's motivations are, which I thought was a good idea, but it just took too long to get going.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like using his profession as a vehicle to showcase what his actual motivations are, pretty smart idea, you know? Instead of just outright being like, my name is X, Y, and Z, and this is why I want to do X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I think it's that kind of stuff is kind of lame, but you know, using a random civilian family who, you know, is going through a tough time and decides to turn to something illegal to fix their problems, which actually makes things worse. And then he ends up fixing it and then talking to somebody that we don't know yet. And he's like, oh, what do you think about this? And they're like, oh, this is probably somebody new creating a new software that's giving you a virus, it's giving people a virus, you know, doesn't seem like anything black market or mafia related or some shit like that. That's what they say. And I'm just like, oh, well, that might be a cool plot point, but it just doesn't really go anywhere. You know, it's just kind of boring. But I'll give it a couple more. I'll give it the 3 episode rule before I decide to make a decision on it. But I hope it turns itself around. But that's really about all I got for
I gotta watch Reborn as a Vending Machine.
Yeah, shout out to Rainey. I felt like he manifested that.
It is.
There's no way he did it. He had to have.
It is a 6.61 on my anime list. It's not terrible.
I mean, you get what you I guess theoretically pay for, you know? Like nobody's going into that thinking it's gonna be this top tier peak fiction isekai. They know it's gonna be something stupid.
Oh, the studio who makes this made World's End Harem.
Jesus. Oh no. Oh man. Interesting. Well,
none of their animes have above an 8.
Well, they're probably making really just trashy shows. Think about it. Reincarnated in another world as a vending machine, like that's not going to turn into a ReZero or Sword Art Online, you know what I'm saying, or Log Horizon. It's not going to turn into any of those shows, you know.
Yeah.
So it's about a fucking vending machine.
I'm scrolling down their catalog. There's a lot of girls. Too many, if you ask me.
This is about too many, huh? But I will also be watching that one too, just to kind of get a glimpse.
I gotta see what's up.
Right? They can't be too crazy. You know, the main character's a vending machine. How?
It's gotta be funny. It's gotta be at least be funny.
Yeah, like how etchy could it get? The main character's a vending machine. You know?
It doesn't say the genres here. Don't say etchy. It says comedy and fantasy.
All right, so that's helpful. That helps a little bit.
Yeah. There is a bear guy.
I guess I'd have to just check it out. You look at the cover? Yeah, I have to just check it out. Just off the strength of Rainey manifesting that to become an anime.
Yeah.
That and then the other one, plus-sized elf.
That got an anime too, didn't it?
No, I don't know. I'm saying if it does, then he's an oracle.
For real. Yeah, so that's really about all I got. Do you have any you got any music recommendations at all before you get out of here?
Music recs. What have I been listening to lately? Healy's new song, 2D, is really good.
Yep.
Turn Your Phone Off by Pink Panthers and Destroy Lonely is kind of good.
Yeah.
I just really like Pink Panthers. Whoa by Kyle. It's just a lot of singles. Oh, Scaring the Hoes DLC pack.
Yes. Yeah. Scaring the Hoes DLC pack. Peggy and Danny Brown continue to scare the hoes in the best way possible. Those songs are all cool. I guess for me, I'm really excited for Mick Jenkins' new album.
Yeah.
And the song Smoke Breakdance with JID is just really phenomenal. I'm excited for that album to come out. Let's see. Oh, a song that I've been wanting to come out for so long, because it was on YouTube for the longest time and now it's actually out, is Dangerous Derringer by Sauce Walka and Conway the Machine. So basically it started out as Derringer is like a producer who produces a lot of like Griselda stuff, right? He gave Sauce Walka a beat or whatever and made a song, but the song was only on this YouTube series called Off the Block, where they see like a bunch of people like freestyle. Like the format's cool. It's like a mic is like hanging from like in the middle of the screen, and like people are outside in public just like walk up to the mic and they'll just start rapping, right? You have the Sauce Walka one's probably one of the more popular ones. I think Lola Brooke did one, like her first single that came out, like she did Off the Block for that one. It was really cool. And then there was somebody else that did another one that was really cool. But this song is finally on streaming services now, and it's might be one of my favorite beats just overall of the year. And then Sauce Walka's verse is really cool, and then Conway the Machine kills his verse as well. So just a cool. If you really like raps, I'd check that one out. But I think that's it for me.
Yeah.
So, DreamCon's right around the corner. We got about a week. We might have one more episode come out before we head to DreamCon. I think it could probably come out that Tuesday, and then we leave for DreamCon on Thursday. So, in 2 weeks, rather. So, super excited for that. And if you see us out there, don't be a stranger. Say what's up.
Hell yeah.
Say what's up.
We're gonna try to be at a lot of different things. I want to go to the tabletop RPG panel.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to get RDC World versus Some Bros, or it's RDC versus AMP, right?
Yeah, that's Saturday.
With Berleezy.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff
I just need to see Berleezy be Berleezy
in person, right?
Person.
But yeah, that's gonna be really cool. So that's really all the time we got. I've been Nostalgia. I'll still back up. Zoe, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.